from now with Onrie Kompan, Behemoth Comics, Danny Fingeroff, and Red Stylo Media. So we will be back in just about an hour from now. It'll be Jenna and Miss Jen, and we will see you then.
See ya.
Thanks, Jenna.
Don't miss these amazing interviews coming up as part of the Experience Posted Anniversary. If you love the experience, please post it on your social media and tag a friend you think would enjoy it too. Stick with us for live interviews and sales all weekend long on the Experience.
Jenny here. Welcome to part 3 of our day 1 extravaganza, our post-it anniversary. Our first guest for this part is actually going to be Onrie. Let's bring him on in. Hi.
What's up? How you doing, Jenna?
Doing good. Bringing in all the energy right here this hour. Finally had some food, so now I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's do this, man. It's
it's
really
on the
great.
beach.
Oh yes, I'm on the beach with my family, and we're all just chilling here. But one thing I gotta say, we've been working together for about 6 months now, right? And it's always through chat on Slack, so it's great to put a face to the name, and it's wonderful. I'm really glad I got to meet you, and hopefully we'll see each other at a convention soon.
Yes. I think you're the one that I'm always having to type, half yell at, give me your pictures.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And that's usually what it looks like. I'm just give me your picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. I just, I'm not very photogenic, so I have to find the right. No, I'm not kidding. Sometimes when I do conventions, I literally have to take 500 pictures, and I feel horrible when I do it. But it's not the person taking the picture's fault. It's my fault for not being photogenic. So, sorry.
Shoot.
See, I'm not even happy with the angle here right now. There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, you're on the beach, so you're already all jealous. I'm just saying.
There's nothing to be jealous of out here. It's 90 degrees, and there's no umbrella or anything, and the sun is right on my head. But hey, comics,
Yay, coming. Definitely. I'm in South Texas, so we definitely have all the humidity and all the heat here, and still no sunlight because this is swampland.
Yes, of course, Texas. But I do love Texas very much. Some of my favorite people are from Texas, so that's it doesn't take me much to come out there and visit.
All right, so I know you have your own comic, so kind of tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I got a few comics actually, but my signature series is called Isun Shin, and for the folks on the XP who haven't heard about it, Isun Shin's about a Korean admiral that battled the Japanese in the 1500s, and he was outnumbered 10-1, and he beat him 23 times in a row and never lost a single battle, and it's all based on a true story. And for the last decade, I've been basically going to various conventions and bringing quantities of about 1,000 to 1,500 books and selling everything and using that as my main source of distribution. And once COVID hit, that kind of forced me to pivot. And I journeyed into virtual sales as a dealer with my very good close friend and partner, Kevin Hines. And we started our dealing outfit, and it's called Hunter Killer Collectibles. I also worked on another graphic novel called Mark's A Tale of Neglect, which is the story of my grandfather's life. And during World War II, he was a Russian Jewish soldier that battled the Nazis. And the thing I love the most about Mark's is it's just like a one-shot story. It's a 144-page graphic novel, and folks can check it out on our website at www.easternshin.com, or they can watch one of our many broadcasts on the EXP and call it as they see it.
Oh, I always love when you do it because you got to be big and loud about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't get bigger by thinking smaller.
Definitely. So it looks like Miss Jenny's here. Let's bring her in. See if she's got some questions.
Oh, my favorite person is here.
Yeah. Hi, Miss Jen.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
The commander is
the
here.
most insane day, but it looks like you're having the most insane day, but you're just like hanging out outside.
Hey, I'm in the presence of the commander, and when that happens, I must salute. So there we go. The commander's here.
I think it's something like,
Well, there's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel, and if we can't enjoy our lives and make it all work, then why are we doing it, right?
I do it for this.
And here's the best part about it. I'm in the presence of such wonderful women, and I'm out on the beach. It's great. It's fantastic.
Is the family there with you?
Yes, my kids are digging a hole right now that they're going to probably throw me into very soon, and they're just digging it really deep. You want to say hi? Come and say hi.
Oh, we're gonna have a special guest here.
They're both kind of like running around. But yeah, they might pop in here and there. You can say hi. Come in. They both want to say hi. All right, say hi.
I will keep in the waves. Hi, guys.
This is Alon, and then everybody knows Max. He's our resident slinger. He's come on our show. Alon has also showed off some stuff before. All right, keep digging. Help your mom dig that hole. All right.
Need a bigger hole.
Yes, go to your hole.
Go to your hole and think about what you've done.
No,
Onrie,
really good
I've got
boys.
a question for you, man. So,
what's up?
Has your business always been with Kevin, or did you guys meet when you were doing your thing at convention and realize you had a kindred spirit, or what?
Yeah, honestly, when Isun Shin has always been my business, and David Anthony Krepp was my writing partner and co-creator on the series. I made this decision after I hired him because he was contributing so much to the storytelling and so much of the production process, and he was teaching me so much about sequential art. So, Isun Shin is really kind of my publishing outfit. Kevin started coming with me to conventions from the very beginning, probably in about 2 years that I was into it. I went to Baltimore Comic-Con, and he's from Maryland, so I was like, hey, I'm going to Maryland. Can I come stay with you? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I thought he was just going to drop me off at the convention center and pick me up later. We had talked, but we didn't stay in touch for a long time. And now, we were hanging out, and he really wanted to come and check out what I did. And as soon as I got out there, it was almost like a second nature thing for him. He just started slinging comics, and him and I sold like 400 copies of Feast and Shin that weekend, which was really fantastic. And so a couple weeks later, when New York Comic Con happened, he insisted on coming to help me out. And over time, we just kind of developed this relationship, and he was always helping me work conventions and helping me move a lot more volume. And eventually we decided to get into dealing together because we both like selling comics and getting people hyped about everything. And we started Under Killer Collectibles as more of like a comic book flipping company where we'd buy a couple books and flip them on eBay. But then once COVID hit, that really forced us to either do something or let it die, because it wasn't, when we started bringing Hunter Killer to conventions, it was really hard to manage everything. My focus was so derived on Feast and Shin and selling out at these shows. And it was hard to kind of like figure things out. Like we were just kind of new and didn't really know some of the basic principles of dealing. And, COVID really forced us to try something different. I mean, when conventions were gone, that was probably one of the darkest moments in my life. And when we fell into virtual sales, it was sort of like me waking up one morning and saying, you know what, the only reason why I'm not selling comics right now is because I'm not selling comics right now. And I kind of looked around and saw what you were doing, Jen, and that was a huge inspiration to me. And I said, I want to do the same thing. I would rather do that than sit here and feel sorry for myself. And so I got into it, and I learned a lot. I mean, it was, and it always felt natural to me to get out there and do this. And I absolutely loved it. And Kevin, he supported the idea, and he came on, and he contributes as much as he can. Being a full-time, construction worker and father and husband, it's really hard for him to allocate as much time to this as I can. So we both do what we can to help build the business and help build each other up. And it's a really great functioning business relationship, which is something that's really makes me happy that I get to work with someone who I don't just consider a best friend, but a brother.
Nice.
For other people that are kind of either thinking about kind of trying out the convention scene, or are kind of struggling with the convention scene now, do you have any like good advice for what's a good hand selling technique that you guys use?
Well, we teach this in our class. I believe every creator should develop a fast pitch, something to just give people a very general idea of what your book is about. Because when you go to conventions, you are hitting a large, what is it? You get a huge amount of traffic at a convention. You're going to be, and everybody's consolidated into this, big convention floor, and no one has patience for everything. Everybody's distracted by everything. So I always encourage creators to have that fast pitch nailed down, so you can talk to as many people. You can pitch as many people as possible until you're blue in the face. And when you're blue in the face, take a deep breath and then start from scratch. Just keep going. People can't say no forever. And, you want to do it in a sense that you don't want to be pushy and aggressive to the point where people don't want to talk to you. You want to come in and do it in a way that makes people want to hang out with you. You want to be really laid back and show people that you're there to have a good time with them and really build that relationship. I think that's what sales is mainly about, is building and establishing relationships with people that you want to buy from you, people who you want to enjoy and share your work. I think as a creator, the biggest thing for me is to be able to share with people what my team and I have forged. And it's always one thing to sell it, but as I was talking to another creator yesterday on my virtual signing show, we want you guys not just to buy it, but to actually pick it up and read it. That's the most important thing. And it's so hard because there's so many comics out there. There's so many distractions. that when we do get that feedback from a customer saying that they really loved our work and that it changed them or inspired them in some way, that makes it worthwhile. That's why we do it. So to new aspiring creators, I say nail your fast pitch, grab your books, don't be afraid, just get out there, start slinging your books, get it out there to as many people as possible, and be confident about it. Be confident about what you're pricing it at. Be confident about the service you're going to offer. Think about all the other things you can do and learn from your partners. Learn from the other people at conventions who can help you grow your business. And you can do it. Anybody can do it.
I've never seen you in anything except for your most brilliant commercial ever for what it's like to be at convention with you. But I envision that you guys stand on the outside of your booth, not behind the booth with your distracted, playing Candy Crush on your phone. I think that's part of why you get so much interaction.
This is an interesting conversation because, when I first got into this business, it was so clear to me. You must stand in front of your table. If you don't do that, and the thing is, whether you're standing behind your table, to the side of the table, to the front of your table, to outside of the convention, what's most important is that you're always trying to engage someone. I see a lot of great creators who do everything, from behind their tables, but the difference is that they're standing up and engaging their audience. Creators like Dustin Brunel and Jim Noble and Travis Gibb and Rob Anderson, these guys, if you walk past their table at a convention, another big shout out to, oh my gosh, why is his name? TJ Sterling. TJ Sterling's a machine. If you guys see him at a show, he's gonna make eye contact with you. He's behind his table the whole time, but he's working that show. And I think that's the most important thing if you're there to engage. A lot of people sometimes feel intimidated by it, and it's understandable because as creators, we're so involved in our work that we at times start to develop imposter syndrome and think that it's not good enough for the outside world. But that's not for us to judge. That's for the world itself to judge. And if you do something that comes from your heart, whether it's the most beautifully illustrated book or something that, it looks amateurish, the most important thing is that you get it out there and you just learn from it. Paul Jenkins, he gave me that very same advice when I asked him about breaking into comics at a convention once. He said, write a script, learn from that, then write another script, learn from that, and just keep going. You can't learn without putting out your first comic and it being the massive failure that you can't help but it become. My first comic was I won't show it to anybody. I think there's one copy of it still in existence, but I won't ever show it to anybody because it was my first comic.
It sounds like a hunt that me and Miss Jen need to do, don't we? It's going to be added on to our other list of other people's stuff that we're still trying to find.
As if you guys aren't doing enough already. What you guys are doing is so pivotal to our industry.
So I do have a question for you, Onrie. It's something that we have asked everybody today. So we're really pushing for our local comic book stores. Do you remember your first comic book shop that you went to, and do you know if it's still around?
Yes, I still do business with my local comic shop, North Shore Comics, which was down the street from my house. When when my family moved to Northbrook, which is where I've lived all my life pretty much. There was a comic shop down the street, and it's still there, and it's run by my very good friend Pete Hurst, and Pete has really taken me under his wing in terms of helping me learn the ropes in this business and how you stay in the game. And he also always provides me with really great prices on his key titles. Like a couple weeks ago, he got me a Silver Surfer 1 for just an amazing price. And Kevin and I were able to take it with us to AwesomeCon in DC and flip it. And, we help each other out. I connect him with, other people in the business who offer different services like pressing and cleaning. And he when he finds books, he'll call me up and say, "Hey, Onrie, you want to take a look at it, get first crack." And the thing about Pete is he just gets a kick out of watching me sling it on the Comic Book Shopping Network and the EXP. So it works out in both ways. And, Pete very much got me into comics and helped me stay in comics. So I'm very grateful and lucky that the relationship is still there and working today.
Amazing. That's awesome. So is it like your family and like the stuff around you? What gives you your inspiration for the comics that you do create?
That's a very interesting question. I'm working on a new book right now. It's called Warlion.
Ooh.
And it's really my COVID imagination. And what initially inspired it was something that happened to me in life, a traumatic thing that happened in my life that I'm still kind of learning to deal with. And it's about this old superhero who basically comes back to save his city and get revenge for the government that basically arrested him and destroyed his life. That's the basic premise, and I'm still working on it right now. And I brought on a great editor, Chuck Pino, to come on and help me with it. Originally, it was supposed to be David Anthony Kraft, who was going to be my editor on it. But with Warline, I really wanted it to be something that came from within, and it is a very personal story to me. So, that's something I've been working on. But in terms of inspiration, I've always been inspired by superheroes. And I always wanted to tell stories about heroes, but I wanted to stand out in a way that would be special. And, writers like Tom King, they one thing I remember Tom King saying is, you write what you know. And, the one thing he knew about was marriage, and that really shows in how he handles the Batman-Catwoman relationship. And I took a cue from that. If you're going to write something, it should be something you know about or something that you're really interested and passionate about, because it's going to show through the work and it's going to show through your enthusiasm to put it in other people's hands.
I just went and found your comic book store and posted a link to it.
Nice.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate you doing that. And Jen, I got to say, another thing too is, and I know Jen has even messaged me and she said, "Stop giving me praise. It's making me feel like it." But I can't help it, especially if we're in front of a live audience. But Jen has also been instrumental in teaching me so much. I didn't realize that in the first 10 years that I was doing comics, how much I was holding myself back, because I'd go to these cons and I'd only be focused on just selling Eastern Shin. And yes, I'd make relationships with other people in the field and, my contemporaries and stuff, but I wouldn't connect with them the same way I did once I got into live sales, because now I wasn't just selling my stuff, I was selling their work as well. And that forced me to really step out of my shell and, build relationships with these publishers. And it was also Jesse who kind of made me understand that it's not that you just need to know these people, they are our partners, because essentially as dealers, we're the frontline workers. We're the ones who are getting comics into people's hands, making them available for people. And you never want to leave a customer behind. And again, I learned all this from Jen and Jesse, and seeing what they're building right now and being able to contribute and be just a tiny little, part of that large machine is such an incredible honor for me. I love every minute of it. It is the greatest job in the world.
What you don't know is that, I, in the 90s, when I was, a 25-year-old wanting to open a comic book store, I had mentors that took me under their wings too and were willing to share information. It was a little harder in the 90s because it was a little more competitive minded. But, I cut my teeth in a sports card place called Al's Sports Cards in Edmond, Oklahoma. He's still there and still slinging cards and comics. And I owe to him just being kind and letting me come and hang out in his store and kind of like learn the ropes. And I think everybody in the industry has got somebody that or multiple people that they consider their peer group that kind of like help them when they, try to work through how to do things, or when they come up against a roadblock, or when they want inspiration. We all need it. So you inspire me.
I always be like Miss Jen, like, "Hey, do this." And like, okay.
Well, I agree with that completely, and it just opens up so many doors when we stop looking at each other as competitors and start looking at each other as partners. We all build. A rising tide raises all ships. And so when I hear people say, "Oh, and creator-owned comics are better than Marvel and DC," and Marvel and DC, oh, look at all the stuff they're putting out today. Look, they're putting out content, they're generating content, and they are establishing a marketplace for us to all work and succeed together. So when we see each other as partners and don't cheer for our losses, but our victories are joint victories. If you look at it from the perspective of if a Marvel movie succeeds, it only makes way for movies like 300 to get made, or movies like, or TV shows like The Umbrella Academy to get made. And I really do believe that creator-owned comics, when you look at companies like Scout, who I honestly think they're the true trailblazers of the creator-owned market right now, what they're doing is so phenomenal. They're bringing together some of the best talent in the creator-owned field and bringing their projects not just to the comics market, but to Hollywood. And they have an incredible partnership with their creators, and the people behind it are actual movie people. And that's what this business is supposed to be about, is us working together. You can't do it all on your own. And so, hearing what Jen had to say, it's really fantastic. Because another thing about when Jen jumped into the scene, the 90s, oh my gosh, what was going on in the 90s with Marvel, with all the lawsuits and comics taking a deep dive and comic book stores shutting down a lot. And seeing Jen's success is really seeing every comic shop that's still standing, that includes North Shore Comics, is that it's a testament to, if you're in the game, you're in the game. No one's going to take you out of the game unless you yourself choose to get out of it and move on to something else.
I mean, not even a worldwide pandemic could take down Miss Jen.
No,
she's like, okay, clothes go online all the time.
It honestly didn't. If anything, I have to say the pandemic, as sad as it is, because I lost my very good friend and mentor from this pandemic, and I know many people who are sick, or people that are contemporaries of mine who are on ventilators right now. It's really scary. But me personally, my growth within myself and my career has only expanded as a result of COVID, because it's in these times, in these extreme times, that we're forced to surpass our own expectations. I honestly believe that if we never came into this pandemic, I would have never changed. I would have kept the same mindset, and it would have held me back. And I'm grateful for the fact that I've grown. I wish it wasn't at such an expense, though.
Yeah, I will say all the big changes in the industry that I've seen that have long lasting implications and made it stronger in general have been the really difficult times, like in 95, 96, when Marvel declared bankruptcy, and we had the collapse of Capital Distribution and Heroes Distribution, and we had a UPS strike all in the same year. It's like most everyone just had to figure out how to still succeed despite everything being against them, and that's what's happening right now. I don't really see, honestly, a lot of stores closing because it's hard. I've seen some close because their owners are of the age that they might have thought about retiring anyway, and it just makes good time sense for them. But most everyone's kind of like stood up and kind of, figured out the way around it, or how to change with the changing times. Because this is unprecedented, right? We now have publishers self-distributing, and that looks like that's going to continue, and there's going to be more and more of them doing that. And on its face, it looks like it's much more difficult, but I think it makes the market stronger, because there's now competition in the market, which is what you always need.
Yeah, that's what.
And I think there's more meat on the bone for the creators too, when you think about it, because if you look at the self-distribution model, you're cutting that middleman out, but you don't necessarily need to do that either. And that's what I think. I think we're coming back to a period where now we don't just have Diamond as our only distributor. And I don't think that was ever the case, Jen, right? I mean, there was, in terms of comics, Diamond was the primary distribution method, but there were other, there's Baker and Taylor and other distributors out there. But now that Marvel has left Diamond and DC has left Diamond, and one is with Lunar and the other one is with us. Is it Simon & Schuster or Random House?
Random House.
Okay, Random House. So, that opens up the floodgates for other people to get, other distributors to get in. I'm working with a distributor right now, genius guy. His name is Adam Watson. And he reached out to me thanks to a creator we had on our show a long time ago. We've had him on twice already for virtual signings with Onrie. He does 47 Furious Tales. His name is William Quinton III. His book is sold out on my show multiple times. Fantastic creator. He does this really great book about the 47 Ronin, but done with animals. And the story is retold that way, and it's fantastic. And he's so passionate about everything. And he used to be a dealer himself. He had a brick and mortar, and he put me in touch with this distributor who has decided to start distributing comics at marijuana dispensaries. So now, marijuana is becoming the gateway to comics, which I think is just fantastic. So we just recently signed up with it. Oh, absolutely.
That's so perfect.
I highly encourage anybody who is under the influence of marijuana to read Easton shit. I could now say that.
So is there such thing to go along with munchies as readies?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to call it munchies and readies from now on. Oh, man, I got the munchies and the readies. I need that as a shirt.
Chuck says you came back yourself pretty hard in this pandemic, man. You pivoted really well.
I think I say the same about Chuck. Chuck has a voice, and it is a very loud and predominant one, and I mean that in a way that is fantastic. He engages his audience very well. If he is doing an interview with somebody, it is one of the most enticing, gripping interviews out there. He's just so involved in everything he does, and him and I were just talking about this yesterday. Because he's helping me a lot right now. When you're doing the kind of work that Chuck does, editing or writing for that matter, you really need to be turned on. It's not work you can do with your brain off. You can't edit a book with music on. You can't be under the influence of anything. You really need to focus on every precise detail, and he's 100% right about that, especially when you're on deadline. And I think Chuck is one of the finest editors I've ever worked with. I mean, he's just really spot on about storytelling. He can tell you when something's working, when something's not. He can help you work through those blocks, and that's really what an editor's job is, in my opinion, is to really help steer the project. They're the sort of the air flight traffic controller guys who are telling you, are you going in the right direction or not? And it's great having that kind of relationship and seeing Chuck grow throughout this pandemic.
I don't think people understand how important editors are. There's some cool stuff that's coming out. I don't know if everybody knows Shelley Bond, famous for her editing in Vertigo and many other things. She's got this really great book that's coming out called Filth and Grammar, all about how to edit. What does editing mean?
Yes, I saw that. I want that. I think I backed the Kickstarter for that. I am so excited about that book.
Good.
She's like the coolest person in real life too. I think that she is a walking an ad model, because she just, every picture I see of her looks like it belongs in a magazine, but like a walkability one.
I love how the comic industry is literally like every walk of life. So like Miss Jen has a degree in social justice. Is that what it is, Miss Jen?
Criminal justice degree.
Mine's in applied mathematics. And then of course there's somebody who looks like a model. It's amazing.
I have no background experience whatsoever. That's my secret power right there.
Like I said, it takes everybody. It takes all of us.
Absolutely. But I agree. It is one of those loss of life things. I mean, again, you look at some of these guys like Charles Soule, for example, was like a lawyer a musician, a writing like 4 titles for Marvel plus 4 titles for DC, and like, you know, his own own book, and you see that, and you know, and it just shows you that anything you commit yourself to is possible. But I think the most important thing is that we all do it our way, the way Jack Kirby said, you know, do it your way, and find your own measure of success. You know, trying to live up to somebody else's carbon imprint, like you know, to say I want to be the next Stan Lee or the next Robert Kirkman or the next Brian Michael Bendis. It's always better to be the first and only you. And if you can do that, then you will find your own measure of success, and you will be satisfied with what you're able to do. Maybe.
Absolutely. That's such good advice, because everyone, I mean, you can try to be, you can emulate someone, right? But why would you want to be another exact copy of somebody else when you could blaze a trail and be the first you?
Because people will be like, oh, there's already been that. We can just go read that.
And you know, even Jen gave me that advice when I first started dealing, you know, and there's always growing pains, and you know, I was coming to her for advice on what I can do to grow, and you know, she was telling me, you know, don't do what we're doing, do what you do. And the second you told me that, Jen, I actually had a much better show, because I just kind of thought to myself moments before I went live, just relax and be myself, and everything will work out. And once I trusted that was fact, it just becomes so. Chris Tadlock with SourcePoint Press has the superpower of being able to find, and I am going to master this at some point, hopefully. I'm going to have him teach me. I'm going to become his loyal student. Finding parking in the most impossible places at the exact moment those spots open up. I mean, I kid you not. He always ends up right in front of the restaurant, right in the middle of town on the busiest night. He's just like, boom, he's there. He's got his truck out there, and he's set up. And I really think it is just a matter of deciding, like, I will figure this out and making it happen. I've been hanging out with him for a couple months now, and he has yet to disappoint. He always nails it.
Now that you've said something, you've jinxed him. Oh.
Yes. No, I don't think it's possible. If anything, I only empowered him more.
Oh. So do you have any projects that are coming up?
Do I have any projects that are coming out?
Yeah, like ones that are coming up, like that you're working on that we should all be like looking for. Yeah,
absolutely. So the 10th issue of Beast and Shin is going to come out by the end of this year. There's graphs of all the pages colored now, and my editor passed away in the middle of production. Oh. So I have there's a lot of puzzle pieces that need to be picked up. And fortunately, I found someone to help me out, and you know, come on board as my basically as my right hand and my second in command. And I guess I can say it here, but it's actually Dak's wife, and she's been involved with what we do on Eastern Shin for a long time. And when he passed away, her and I became even closer. We were always very close. But you know, she came to New York Comic Con with me in 2019, and she was just an amazing slinger, and she's very good at getting the name out about our work and sharing the news about it and trying to get us in the door. But above that, she's an incredible writer, and she worked for Angela Knight. She submitted some work, and Dak always said she was an incredible writer, and she's been having a really difficult time mourning her husband, and we've both been really affected by it. And so I invited her. I said, you know what, let's do this together. This way we keep his memory alive, and we'll have a really good time together. And I'm going to officially debut her next week, because she's going to be coming to work with me at Dragon Con, and
Ooh.
we're gonna go out to Craft House up on top of Screamer Mountain after that, and start filming for our Kickstarter. And we got this will be the first Decent Shin book that's published under my new publishing entity, OK Comics, and we're going to be doing variant covers. And we got a really amazing cosplayer. She's a Korean American cosplayer to do one of our characters. And we also brought on Maug Park, another Korean American artist, to do a variant cover for us. And Jen, I guess I got to talk to you. I would really like to do like a CBSN variant cover for the 10th issue of Eastern Shin. I feel like it's almost warranted given the fact that, I've been a part of the network now for a year. I hope we can work something out. And,
I think that this is possible. I know a girl.
Oh,
yeah, she knows.
like
Hey, she knows
made
it.
right here.
And I'm really excited to get into this because this gives me a chance to work with other artists to get Eastern Shin visualized through different artists and to really just have fun with it, to really open it up and make it something bigger and greater. One of my biggest influences in the business is Tom Hutchinson and Brian Polito. Those two guys are really they're really trailblazers for the creator-owned market. What they're doing and how they're making their projects happen is a tremendous inspiration to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's kind of do a little bit of a deep dive. We have a couple of minutes to do this. I've heard from quite a few people that finding a printer that is reasonably priced and can do things in a timely fashion is really hard right now. Is that like really tightly held information when you find the printer that can do really well and give a good price, or is that something that people share?
I think that the industry itself is pretty open to working with everybody to help us all find solutions that can work. I honestly haven't printed anything in a while, so my printer, I was printing off. I was doing off. What is it? Why am I getting on the words? Not offset printing from China, and I pretty much reprinted all my books, and we got hit with tariffs from China because they were just imposed after that. So that was how my 2020 kicked off.
Yeah.
But I haven't found a new printing solution yet. I'm looking into a couple places, and I'm hopefully gonna be able to work with them soon. I hear really great things about Transcontinental. They're based in Canada, and they do a lot of printing for my friend Ted Sikora, Source Point Press. They work with a lot of those companies. So we're looking into them. There's another company that we worked with in the past called Four Color Print Group. And even my printer, I believe they opened up a plant in Africa in order to avoid dealing with the tariffs. So we might work with them in the future. And honestly, it's something I need to get on top of. I would love to be the guy that says I know everything, but I don't. And when I don't, I would rather say I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out. But, my friend Kitsune Windsor, they contacted me and they told me that they have a problem with printing right now too, and they're looking for solutions. So I'm definitely looking into this as well. It's hard right now.
Yeah, I was actually specifically thinking of Kitsune when when I asked that question because
okay.
Because no one would tell them. Sorry, I didn't know if that was what it was, that everyone was holding it as close information, or if it was just like they didn't know the right person to ask yet.
Well, it's a deep dark secret, Miss Jen, and now you've given it away.
Well,
next year you give away the bags and boards in.
I really don't see. I really don't see why anybody would disclose this kind of information, because you're helping another business out and it's not getting in the way of your stuff. Printers need to stay in business by getting other clients other than you. And to hog a printer would mean that you would keep them from growing their business. So I'm not for that at all. But if I had the solution that I plan to work in right now, I would gladly display that information. I don't know it yet.
Yeah. I feel like my first book, I think I used Transcontinental, which is hilarious. And then Quebec Corps for one of them, I think.
Yeah, Canada has a really great company too. Le Bon Fond. They were a company that we never actually worked with, but we were in communication with. But I think the most important thing is, here's advice I will give that I do think is tangible. Don't feel like you need to settle with one printer. You should always interview them and make sure that they work on your terms, not that you're necessarily working on theirs. Because like any other aspect of production, you need to oversee the process. You need to make sure that the printer knows what they're doing. There's a great, independent comics printer out there. His name is Barry Gregory, and he runs Kompan, and he's fantastic. I mean, he understands everything. He'll give you, if you need that short run, he's your guy. But for an offset print, I highly recommend working with a company that has the equipment and the facilities for handling such projects, and you want to make sure that they're going to communicate with you, because if you have a deadline you got to meet, they got to be able to meet that deadline for you. They got to care about you as a client in order to grow their business. And again, COVID offset a lot of things. I know that there's a paper shortage right now, and Jenna, I think you can probably shine a light on this even with bags right now. For bags and boards, there's a shortage of bags, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a shortage of everything that is petroleum based. So anything that plastic is so petroleum is what makes plastics, and plastics therefore are in there's some trouble for top loaders, bags, and anything cardboard because of paper. And so short boxes and long boxes and boards are all in short supply right now. I quite literally call up my supplier once a week and just say, what am I allotted to have, and just ship that to me, because it's just
give me everything that you can give me.
Whatever I can get, I'll take that. I guess we'll make it work.
Yes, every time.
For example, this week they said that they had short boxes, which they haven't had in maybe a month. They had short boxes but no lids. I was like, that's great, we'll take them.
Something's better than nothing. Honestly, I've been pricing. I prefer short boxes. I think only sadists work with long boxes, because once they're filled up, it's all that weight there. Short box is so much
I don't know who
easier
you're talking to.
Yeah. It's the most sadistic thing to carry a short box or a long box around. Short box is easy. I do it all day.
My only problem is my arms aren't that long. I'm all of 5 feet. So I'm like, I can reach it. Or I just put it on the ground and push.
You should get one of those sticks that allow you to reach and grab them.
What, the ones
those
that look
claws,
like
claws.
Oh, I actually have one of those in my laundry room. It's a T-Rex head for things that go in the washer and dryer. If they put stuff on the shelf above the washer and dryer, I have to use my T-Rex hand. Make it work, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so we do have a few more minutes left. What is the places that people can find you to follow you and catch all your news?
Absolutely. Well, I have 2 shows on CBSN on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern. And then 1 show on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Eastern. And then on the EXP at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. Every Friday we do virtual signings with Onrie, which we're kind of trying to figure things out right now because conventions are coming back and my Fridays keep getting blocked out due to shows. But my producer and I were working on a solution to that. And because at all of these shows, I've gathered so much creator-owned stuff that I actually want to sell it. I want to offer it to my audience, but we can't seem to get around to figuring out a time to do it. So we're going to work out something soon. But Virtual Signings with Onrie airs at 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Eastern. When I'm not doing shows and I'm kind of more settled in one place, sometimes I'll do shows on my own Facebook channel or on my own channel. And you guys can just friend me on Facebook. I think that's the best way for us to stay in touch. I'm also on Instagram. You can just type in my name, Onrie Kompan, and Twitter and all that stuff. I engage with all my audience. So if you guys message me, you will hear back from me. And you can also go to my website, www.hk-collectibles.com. You can check out our eBay store. We have over 300 items listed and are aiming to have over 1,000 listed by the end of the year. And I also have the flagship site for Yusin Shin, www.yisonshin.com, yusinshin.com.
Perfect. Looks like you've got a big fan and Ship over here. Hi, Ship. Yes, it's Jennifer.
Oh, I love Ship.
He told us he's stalking you. He's behind your chair.
Oh, well, you know. I don't mind that. If he is here, you mind getting me a drink? All this sitting around has made me thirsty.
So Onrie, what is in your pull box? What are you reading on the regular that's outside of having to sit in a crate all the time?
I love that question, Jen. Thank you so much. So right now, I'm reading Broken Gargoyles. I got a number of copies of the trades, and I never got a chance to really hold the book in my hand because as soon as I get it, I've just been selling it. Now I really want to read it. I'm a big fan of Staniak's art, and I'm studying that. Also a big fan of Bob Sally's writing on the book, and really looking forward to being able to read Sins and Virtue. I also came across this really cool 90s Return of Shang-Chi book. It's like this big fat 90s book that I got, and I had it for sale last week, and I opened it up and looked inside, and it's only a $5 book, but I was looking inside and I'm like, man, the artwork for this is fantastic. And so I started reading that slowly. What else I got? I have Solar Flare by James Hake from Scout Comics. I got a bunch of those in, so I want to read that, and I love the concept. You know, Solar Flare basically like shuts down power all throughout the world, and like basically people are trying to survive now. I think it's a really cool concept. Let's see what else has been in there. I really want to get my hands on King Spawn. I want to read that King 1 book. I read Batman 89 recently, and I thought it was okay. I mean, it's kind of cool to see, you know, the Michael Keaton inspired Batman make a return, especially with news of him coming back as Batman and that potentially ushering in Batman Beyond. So I'm really excited about that. Just in general, Phantom Starkiller, love that series, and Count Draco Knuckle Duster, that was awesome. And then there's the 3rd issue. I think it's going to be called like Admiral. I forgot his name. It's from another character. So every
something ridiculous.
Issue
ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's something ridiculous, but it's such an awesome series. Like this, it's really starting to take on its shape. And I got to meet Peter Gorell at Orlando at MegaCon, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of Voodoo Nations from Travis Gibb. I think that's a great series too. I think Travis is just phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to reading Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies as well. Every time I go to a con, I meet so many great creators out there, and I get a chance to get acquainted with their work. And that's the best part about being a dealer is you get to just buy the stuff at wholesale and hoard it. And I guess one more series I want to give a shout out to is Cult of Dracula from Richard Davis. That's a phenomenal series. Fuhrer and the Tramp by Sean McCardle, great book. This is all the stuff that's in my long box. And Tom King's Rorschach series and Strange Adventures. I've been hoarding that too. Barbaric from Vault Comics, Michael Morecci. I love that series. Gosh, I can talk about it all day. Jen, you opened up Pandora's box just now.
Well, you got like a good 5 minutes if you need to talk about other stuff.
Well, I mean, this is perfect because we have a lot of people that are fans of you, and I'm sure that they know what your writing is like, and if your opinion is you like these specific things, that they are pretty sure they'll like it too, right?
Well, the thing is that I want to study my contemporaries. I want to see what they're doing. Right, like I'm a big fan of Frank Gogol and what he did with Dead End Kids. Again, we were talking earlier about writing from what you know, and what Frank did with that series was he wrote about his own experiences with addiction and drugs and all these kinds of things. And when I interviewed him on my show, Live with Onrie, a number of months ago, he came from a very genuine place, and he's a phenomenal writer and an outstanding promoter. Boom Studios, I think Ross Ritchie, true visionary in our field. And every time I see him put something else out there, whether it's licensed work like Power Rangers or something really awesome like Seven Secrets by Tom Taylor, just a really great book. But even the DC stuff, I mean, you see some of these really engaging covers. This is just such an exciting time to be in comics. So many great creators, and you can't. The last thing that Jesse James said to me when I interviewed him on my show was that you can't be selling comics unless you're buying comics. So if you say that you want to get into this field and you're really dead set on establishing a career, you need to know the work of the other people out there, because you never know who you'll be working with tomorrow. And the more you're acquainted with their work and the more you can enjoy their work, the further you'll get along in this industry, because you'll be working with kindred spirits now and not just other artists out there that, just happen to fit your fancy.
The truth. Speaking the truth.
Oh my goodness. There's just so much goodness going on. And it's really cool to see you. Kind of glad that we get to see you on a Sunday. You get to see the beautiful's of the
you get to see
and your families.
Yeah, you guys get to see me relax for a change, which is nice. But I have to say, this has been such a pleasant. The one thing I was really scared of is that the reception here wouldn't work, but it looks like everything worked out fantastic, and we didn't get interrupted. And I had such an engaging conversation by two of my favorite people now. And
just
I
finally
get to do it while.
and
I get to be an earshot away from my wife and kids, and I gotta make it up to them and get them some ice cream after this. So that's
why are you talking about ice cream, man? Oh.
Well, I'm taking them to this place where they like rolled ice cream. It's like they have like this like.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. It's like they have like these cold pans, and then they just like throw it on there. And I don't normally eat ice cream, but today I'll make an exception because I'm on the beach. Today's my beach day, so
definitely get them some ice cream and big hugs from us. I want to thank you for coming by. Bye.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Thank you all so much for joining.
So don't miss out. We'll be right back in a second. We're just going to play a little bit of clips, and then we'll be back with a couple of people from Behemoth. So don't go anywhere. Bye.
Don't miss these amazing interviews coming up as part of the Experience Posted Anniversary. If you love the experience, please post it on your social media and tag a friend you think would enjoy it too. Stick with us for live interviews and sales all weekend long on the Experience.